Hi everyone, I'm Nicole Henderson, Editor-in-Chief at the Web Host Industry Review, and I'd like to welcome you to another one of our WER webinars. Today's session is called Building a Multi-Service Cloud Business with Parallels Plesk Automation. It will be presented by Adam Bogobowicz, Senior Director Product Marketing at Parallels, Joe Alagna, VP Channel Development at 101domain.com, and Emil, Sayegh, President and CEO of Codero Hosting. So I will let each presenter introduce himself properly in a few minutes. For now, I'm just going to go through a couple of things. First off, questions. We will save a few minutes at the end of the session for your questions, but you can feel free to submit them throughout the session using the question function in the webinar software. If you ask a question and it doesn't get answered, maybe we've run out of time or it's a bit too technical or specific, somebody will reach out to you by email after the webinar. If you have a question you'd rather ask outside of the webinar, there will be some contact information on screen during the Q&A period at the end, so you can reach out that way as well. Finally, there will be a video archive of the webinar available if you want to revisit a certain slide or a part of the presentation or share it with someone else. You can find it on our website, www.thewer.com, and it'll be up there by the end of the week, so be sure to check back. So we're ready to get started. I will turn it over to Adam. Thanks. Adam, are you there?
Yes, thank you. Good morning, everybody. My name is Adam Bogobowicz, and I'm a Senior Director of Product Marketing here at Parallels, and I would like to welcome you to this webinar. I will introduce our co-speakers here just briefly and give you a sense of how this webinar will go through and what it will cover. So we'll focus today on describing and for you and talking about a multi-server hosting, a professional hosting. And I have Joe Alagna here from 101 Domain who will help me tell you the story and tell about his experiences of running a multi-server professional solution. After this, we'll refocus and talk about a multi-server solution, extending beyond multi-server and talking about multi-service. And we'll talk about new types of hosting as well as the IaaS and SaaS hosting opportunities that arise from the platform and are driven by the customer demand that we see in the market. And of course, the infrastructure, building an infrastructure, building a hosting company requires an optimized infrastructure to build it on. And for this, today we'll have Emil from Codero Hosting, who will help us with a solution to bring that infrastructure to market faster and help deploy the services for your customers in an expedited and high-quality way. And of course, at the end, we'll have a little bit of time on Q&A. So if you have questions, please write them down and be ready to ask them at the end of the webinar. So let me start with a question of multi-server hosting. So many of you on this webinar, I assume, are already hosters. And you probably started with a single panel hosting, which is a very convenient way to get your business up and running. It's easy to get started. It's very convenient to set it up. And at the beginning of your hosting journey, it meets all the requirements and needs of the business. However, that convenience is also a downfall of that solution, because when you grow beyond just a single server with a panel, you have to manage the pains of management of multiple services on multiple servers and inefficiencies that arise by having multiple services run on those boxes that you have to manage. It also, what this means is that ability to upsell or ability to scale your business is very limited. So we have a solution to this problem, and the solution to this problem, of course, is multi-server hosting, a professional way of thinking about the management in a much more scalable, efficient, and secure way. And I'm assuming you have some understanding of multi-server hosting, so I'm just going to do a very quick intro to it. It's really based on the concept of having a single management entry point, a single pane of glass that would allow you to access all the servers in the cluster that you manage infrastructure on. Obviously, it should cover multiple operating systems, be secured through the node isolation, and of course very efficient because you can focus on running specific services on specific nodes designed just for that purpose. That is multi-server professional hosting, and a good example of that hosting is a solution from Parallels called Parallels Plesk Automation. Now, this solution has been on the market for approximately a year. We released it at Parallels Summit in February of this year, and it's been deployed in over 60 countries around the world in clusters. There are up to 24 servers, and with over 700 partners at this time running their professional hosting solutions on multi-server systems. Now, I have an example here, a couple of examples of companies that use that system and succeed with it. I picked examples from different geographies to give you a sense of what it means. The first of them is oneondomain.com, and Joe in a moment will walk you through a little deeper into what it means for him and for his company to build a hosting business on Parallels Plesk Automation. But I also have a company here in Europe, if you would like to see their services, called myhost.ie, a company in Asia, XLHost, leveraging PPA to grow their business at scale. And also, I want to mention here Codero hosting that takes a different take, that has a different take on Parallels Plesk Automation, because they think about it as a platform to be delivered to other hosters, and therefore they are providing services, they're building services, infrastructure services for that solution to be delivered. And again, Emil, in just a few minutes, will walk you through what it means. So with that, I would like to now invite Joe Alagna to come and tell us about oneondomain.com and his experiences with the platform.
Thanks, Adam. Again, I'm Joe Alagna. I'm with oneondomain.com. We're an international domain name registrar, and I want to thank Adam and Nicole and the WER and Parallels for allowing us to join the call. Although I get a privilege here to share this information with everybody, I want to make sure that I give credit to our hosting manager, Rodolfo Elias, and also our IT manager, Michael Sorrentino, who worked with Parallels to make this happen for us over the past year or so. But just to give you a little background, 101 Domain is a wholesale domain name business. That is our core business. And for us, Parallels represented an opportunity for us to build a strategy in a very easy way to converge and then to refocus on our core business. And so that's why the slide is titled as it is. So what we do that's different, we're a domain name registrar. We of course we sell generic, and we're all excited about new top-level domains, and we specialize and have specialized since 1999 in international domain names, or country code top-level domains as they're called. And our goal is to be the domain name registrar to the hosting industry, especially when it comes to international markets. We give hosts an entree into these foreign markets, and we do that by allowing hosts to speak the customer's language within those markets. Now, I had a conversation just a day or so ago with a gentleman from New Zealand, and one of the things he told me is that, as important as .com is in the world, he said New Zealanders don't really trust websites that are on a .com domain as much. He said they like when somebody has a .com, .nz. He said the same thing is true in Australia for .com.au. So basically, we specialize in this, and that's what makes us different. And we work with some of the largest companies in the world. So that takes us to how we decided to begin working with Parallels. And if you just flip the next slide, what you'll see is, in the process of doing domain names, you get we have a retail business. I mean, we still sell domain names to the general public. And what we find is, although we want to focus on our reseller domain business, people come to us and, sometimes they want hosting too. So we wanted to have world-class hosting, and that's why we did that. I'm not sure if that's what we wanted there. Okay, thank you. But anyway, so what the Parallels company allowed us to do with their PPA program is to just build something that really works and it's easy to manage. It rounded out our hosting offer. It centralized the management of it. We can now provision hosting a lot more quickly. What Rodolfo likes to talk about is that it gave us a homogeneous environment. So we're not going through various different types of protocols just to provision hosting. It makes it real easy for Rodolfo or for anybody on our staff to do this, to provision hosting. And obviously that gives us improved customer satisfaction. So we can do things a lot faster, and we can scale this in a way that we were unable to do before. So by separating out these management nodes into the various web workloads and websites and such, and email on a separate server, and our databases on a separate server, and our DNS, which is very important to us, on a separate server, we basically have a much more efficient system. And what does that do? Well, that leads us back to focus on our wholesale domain name business. And I just wanted to add a little slide here to show, I mean, it ultimately comes down to profit. We want to be able to make money with our domain business, and we want to allow our resellers to make money with their domain business by entering new markets. And I added in the lower left-hand corner of the slide, you can kind of see the growth rates. And this is a very recent study that was conducted by Zuknik, who studies country code top-level domains around the world. And you can see that the generic top-level domains, I mean, there's a 150 million GTLDs registered in the world, but they're growing at a rate of 1%, whereas country code top-level domains and even IDNs are growing at rates of 4.3% and 2.2% respectively. So these are fast-growing markets that are huge, and by making it easy for us to provision our web hosting for our smaller retail channel, we have now been able to go back and be a much better resale partner in the domain name business for our resellers. And we do it in a way that our big competitors can't, because they're all about .com, .net, and .org. And so we fill a space that's growing rapidly, and that's very profitable for us. So we have to thank Parallels for that, and do want to mention that Parallels has also been very helpful to us. When it came to support, and there was support needed, and there was a lot of assistance that we needed, they were totally there, and we definitely appreciated it.
Joe, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And with that introduction to the multi-server hosting, now I would like to introduce a different concept for you guys, and talk about services that can be sold in addition to the traditional hosting services that you would normally expect from a hoster. And in some way, Joe is already talking about it, because obviously his portfolio of services is broader than a single service. So what you see on this slide is a graph that really drives our thinking here at Parallels about the services that we need to enable for our partners. As you can see, a couple of years ago, SMBs used to consume a single service from hosters, but that is rapidly changing. This is already 5 services today, and it's going to grow to 7 in 2016. And therefore, the platform that we need to provide to you, or what you need to provide to your customers, has to be multi-service. So with that thinking in the background, I would like to talk about how these services will evolve with Parallels Plesk Automation, which is today our multi-server solution, but is now becoming a multi-service solution for the cloud business. So I'll spend a moment and stay a moment on this slide just to give you an insight into the thinking here. The left side, of course, is our traditional hosting. DNS, shared, absolute through SSL, and other pieces of traditional shared hosting that we are familiar with. With the multi-server architecture, what's possible today is two new pieces to this puzzle. One is selling of dedicated web nodes, and I'm going to spend a moment on that because it's actually quite interesting. So I'm going to be brief here and then spend a few seconds on it just in a moment. But then also selling of mixed services across the different customer types as they relate to the operating system that they work with. So because of the multi-server infrastructure and because of the ability of that infrastructure to support multiple operating systems, you can now sell Windows services to Linux users. And a good example of it is the ability to sell Smarter Mail to your Linux audience, creating a new value and new opportunity for the upsell. And then, of course, beyond the new hosting comes the cloud hosting as we understand it today, both with infrastructure as a service, delivering either traditional VPSs or the VPSs that are more cloudy and more real-time with appropriate billing associated with it. And then, of course, the application selling, which is designated here as SaaS, but application selling that would not require an infrastructure build-up for these applications. So really what I'm talking about here is a syndicated SaaS clouds delivering either hosted exchange or other type of applications like hosted exchange through a syndicated type of services. And I'll spend a few minutes on that concept as I walk through those different elements. So for the next few minutes, I'm going to be walking left to right through the picture and giving you examples of what this thing looks like. Then let me start with timeline to that thought. So what we're going to deliver to our partners, and the first piece of it is going to come on December 4th, so just in a couple of weeks, are going to be two pieces. One is going to be a piece of software within the parallel steps automation that will allow you to deliver dedicated web node hosting, which is the private hosting. So I'm going to walk you through that concept. And also a parallel Plesk automation billing system, which is an integration billing component to make the parallel Plesk automation a complete hosting solution. So December 4th, and let me dive into the first of these exciting services, and that is the dedicated web node opportunity. So many of you today may already be selling a VPSs, or virtual private servers, with some kind of with Plesk or another single server panel solution. Now, in my experience in talking to many hosters, including the most sophisticated ones, the ability to upsell a customer from a traditional shared hosting, high-density shared hosting service to a VPS service is very complex. And not just very complex and difficult because of the price differential, moving from a few dollars to 50 or more, but because the experience for the customer when moving from simply having their website managed by you to now suddenly being forced to manage an operating system, a VM, and then a full panel with all the complexity and power that it gives the customer, is just too much for many of the users not used to that type of experience. As a result of it, there was a very high drop-off in the attempt to upsell customers to a VPS-like solution. So what if we could close this gap? What if we could make the user experience as they move to a VPS-like solution, which really means dedicated resources, high-power web hosting, easy? What if the experience could stay the same? What if there was no requirement to manage VPS for the customer? What if the provisioning of that was automated, so you didn't have to go through a manual process of spinning a VPS, putting a software on it, and doing a full migration for a customer? And then, of course, what if the resources can be set correctly so the customer receives effectively a one user per VPS experience? And then finally, what if the pricing of the solution could be super attractive? So you don't have to pay licensing fees for the software that you would have to load on each of the nodes to support a customer. So if we had a solution like this, then the barrier would disappear, and ability to upsell customers with high-end websites, blogs, or other forms of the, other customers consuming website resources at high level would become possible. So this is exactly what Parallels did, and this is exactly the solution that we are bringing to market on December 4th. With Parallels Plesk Automation, we are making sure that a node management is enabled from a central pane of glass, just as the solution does for all the other functions that it supports. We make sure that you can lock a node to one user or a few users, effectively creating a dedicated web node for them. As a result of it, and when customer moves from a volume shared hosting business to this new private hosting framework, their experience will not change. And of course, the provisioning is automated now, and is allowed to be the customers are allowed to be provisioned to the node, effectively eliminating any manual work that you would have to provision them in this VPS-like service. And at the same time, we are making sure that the cost to hosters for these nodes is going to be very attractive. And this comes with the licensing costs from Parallels. There will be a sub-dollar for each of the private node-like hosting. Now, with that setup, I have to also tell you about my understanding of the market and the opportunity here. So I see the private hosting being effectively designed for the high-end website customers that you may already have. Today, they cannot move, don't have resources or skills to move to a VPS, full VPS solution with full management requirements. Now they will be able to move to this new hybrid approach, which provides a low-risk, low-cost, high revenue opportunity for our hosters. I also see, just by looking at the numbers and the data that we have from our customers and their operations, that up to 10% of the customers today using shared hosting could be enticed to move to a higher level service like private hosting. Now, I have an example here to illustrate this point in a little more granularity. So the left and right of this slide shows the two different hosting scenarios. The left is a traditional shared hosting model. Somebody with 2,000 customers, 6 licenses, paying probably somewhere between $200 and $300 in licensing costs per month, and therefore having a cost of approximately 13 cents per customer. Now, with this type of business model and a revenue at per customer revenue at $5 a month, we are talking about a $10,000 a month business, which means a license to revenue ratio of about 2.3%. Now, if that shared hoster was able to then identify and moved 10% of their customers into a private hosting scenario, then with a new licensing from Parallels and those 200 customers running, being now managed on 200 nodes, all connected to Parallels Plesk Automation, you effectively could double your revenue from your business. Now, it's possible because of course you're able to, in this model, I'm assuming you're able to monetize these private hosting customers at a significantly higher rate. I'm assuming for the calculation purposes here at $50 per customer per month. And it's also possible because the per customer cost of having this customer on a dedicated node in this scenario goes down to 85 cents. Now, it's virtually impossible to get to this type of a monetization strategy and an ROI calculation with a traditional single panel hosting, because you would have to pay not 85 cents, but at the retail prices, close to $40 for each of the customers, just in licensing costs. So I'm of course looking forward to your questions after the webinar and clarifications on the model. So if you have them, please write them down and be ready to ask them as we go through the content here. Now, let me switch gears on you just a little bit. So one thing, of course, is important in any solution is to make sure that the solution provides you with the right set of services to sell and the efficiency and the business model to enable it. But a solution also has to be complete. So it goes beyond just the software. And that's what we are doing here with Parallels Plesk Automation. We know that support is critical for you, and we are making sure that all the Parallels Plesk Automation installations are fully supported by Parallels at no additional cost to you. At the same time, we know that many of our partners and many of you guys may already be running other systems on which you support hosting businesses. And therefore, moving to a more efficient professional hosting infrastructure will require a step of migration. So I'm not going to go through all the details on this slide, but I want to just note and make sure that you're aware that we are building both the documentations and as well as the technical enablement, scripts and tools to be able to help you move from whatever system you might be on today onto the Parallels Plesk Automation professional hosting system. Now, there's one more piece to the puzzle of having a complete hosting solution, and that, of course, is billing. And here we have a multi-pronged approach to make sure that we satisfy your needs. So first of all, of course, Parallels Plesk Automation will work with Parallels Business Automation standard system. That's the most mature professional multi-server hosting system on the market today, very sophisticated billing, with very sophisticated billing capabilities. And that system is already integrated and will work with Parallels Plesk Automation. We also know that many of you may be using a popular billing system available today on the market, WHMCS, and you've already built and have it ready for you an integration module which will help you directly connect all the new services that you will see from Parallels Plesk Automation with your existing billing system. And then at the same time, I mentioned also that we are shipping a new billing solution specifically designed for Parallels Plesk Automation called Parallels Plesk Automation Billing. This solution is going to be most closely integrated with the system and, of course, provide you with most advanced solutions. But again, even though we believe this is the right way for you to move forward, we have the other options available for you to make sure that your preferences are fully met. And, of course, the Parallels Plesk Automation comes with a set of open APIs. So if you have any other billing system in place and you would like to maintain that system, you can simply write to those APIs and connect back to that solution. So I talked about December 4th as our first big milestone. The next one will come in Q1 of 2014. And this will be an introduction to the first non-traditional hosting service, and that is an infrastructure IaaS service. Some of you may already be familiar with this system. It exists today and is deployed by some of the Parallels' largest service providers. It's called Parallels Automation for Cloud Infrastructure, and I have an example here of a customer using this system, and that's Xmission. And as you can see, it's a very sophisticated cloud IaaS, specifically designed for SMBs and developers. It has now been fully integrated, and will, as it ships, will be fully integrated with Parallels Plesk Automation. So the deployment process is going to be very simple. That's very rich set of functionality, including predefined set of packages, all the custom controls you would expect from a system like this, and of course choices of operating systems and backup types for additional monetization and the flexibility of your offer. It also comes with a unique set of features and values that Parallels can deliver because of the back-end virtualization technology and storage technology that we have available for you. So from this system, you should expect high availability that comes from the storage solution that is part of the system. You should expect use-based pricing, self-source provisioning, of course, built-in storefront, and that's an example of it that you can see here, as well as all the developer APIs that you would expect from a high-end solution. And as I mentioned before, it will become available in Q1 of next year to make sure that your investments in the platform this year can be, again, extended and fully utilized as these services are being added. Now, beyond infrastructure, the next frontier and ability to add new services to customers will come from SAS services. And what we specifically focus on is syndicated SAS services. So you may know that Parallels is serving already many both hosters and telecommunication companies with a SaaS-like platform. And here I have examples of a few of these customers and the type of services that they deliver. It comes in different types and flavors. It's a very broad portfolio of services that you can deliver using a SaaS platform. But just an example, I want to mention a few here, and those that we know SMBs are demanding the most, and we think you would have the most traction delivering and selling to your customers. So it's definitely a Microsoft communication portfolio. That's why I mentioned hosted Exchange before, but it's also hosted Link and hosted SharePoint. It's voice services, but it's also, interestingly, infrastructure services delivered as syndicated services. So there are two ways of delivering an infrastructure to your customers. One is with a solution that I just walked you through, the Parallels Automation for Cloud Infrastructure, but the other solution is to simply resell them in this automated fashion through syndication using the SaaS services as a base, giving you access to the largest infrastructure providers in the world and their services for your customers. And of course, beyond these core services, these anchor services, this portfolio allows you to round these offers with services specific to just your audiences. Today, there's always 400 APS packages, and therefore 400 SaaS solutions available for our largest partners, and we will be bringing those solutions now to you to deliver through Parallels Plesk Automation Platform. You should expect these to start becoming available throughout 2014. So thinking about a complete solution, the traditional shared hosting business that we can enable, the new shared hosting business, and then infrastructure as a service and SaaS, software as a service services, the next question becomes, what's the right way to build a solution like this? What's the right way to architect it? And because it contains so many different services, there is a number of important choices that you have to make before you decide on the right deployment method. So we're trying to make it easier for hosters. We are having trying to pre-configure packages that will give you a sense of the sizing for the architecture that is required for different types of customers and different business type enabled. And this slide illustrates it. So you can think about a compact configuration running just on 4 containers of VMs, maybe all contained within a single physical server, serving a few hundred of websites. A license appropriately using the right licensing method. You can think about a medium configuration that can scale up to 5,000 users and probably not just covers multiple VMs or containers, but also multiple physical servers for redundancy. Or a large configuration that can scale up to 15,000 users maybe taking a rack or maybe spread with servers and resources spread across the multiple racks with Parallels Cloud Server and a storage solution providing a high availability backend to it, again, appropriately licensed. Now, I know that choosing the right solution and picking the right set of infrastructure for the hardware for the solution is not easy. It requires some thinking about both the technology and the business model. So to make it easier, I would like to now invite Emil Sayegh from Codero to talk about what his company does today, their relationships with Parallels, and how they could help you bring to market a Parallels Plesk automation multi-service solution faster and at a higher quality that you could otherwise. So Emil, I'll turn this now to you.
Thank you, Adam. Appreciate it. I want to also thank Adam and Parallels and Nicole and the War for giving me the opportunity to speak to you through this webinar. Quick introduction about Codero. Codero Hosting has been in business since 2009. We're home to 4,000 businesses with some major brand names, as you can see, from Delta Airlines to Barclays to American Express, so on and so forth. We host both large and small companies. However, all our customers are businesses. And we have a broad portfolio of hosting services, from dedicated servers to managed servers to cloud to now our newly released on-demand hybrid product. And we pride ourselves that we have some of the best reliability as validated by some of the industry benchmarks such as Pingoscope and Netcraft ratings and whatnot, as well as the highest performance with a staff that's based in the United States, 24/7, 365 support. 3 data centers, one in Phoenix, one in Chicago, and one in Ashburn, Virginia, all SSA 16, SAS 70 data centers. And we pride ourselves as having some of the most attractive SLAs in the industry. Also, due to our high focus on automation, on automating our data center and our data center automation layers and whatnot, we pride ourselves in very fast deployments and really industry-leading deployment times. You can get a dedicated server from Codero in less than 20 minutes using our smart servers, or about an hour for a traditional dedicated server. And these are truly industry-leading if you compare to some of the folks out there that usually take days, if not weeks, to provision dedicated servers. Of course, cloud deployments are instant, as you would expect them to be. As part of also what you get by hosting with Codero is our high focus on customer service, but also our focus on customer loyalty. We have one of the only industry customer loyalty rewards programs where the more time you spend with Codero, the more benefit you get in terms of getting extra hardware or services, or even cool swag such as t-shirts and mugs, etc. Next slide, please. So that was a quick introduction about Codero. Now, in terms of our relationship with Parallels, we really pride ourselves for a excellent relationship with Parallels. We've been a Parallels Platinum partner since 2008. We have over 2,500 Parallels servers online here at Codero, hosting various Parallels software, and about 10,000 Parallels-driven domains under management here at Codero. And we offer the full suite of Parallels software. And our team loves Parallels software, is fully trained on it. They're expert at delivering support. and what we call internally exceptional service, which transcends just support, but also quick reaction time, uptime, so on and so forth. And just to illustrate our partnership with Parallels, we've consistently, this is not just the first time, but we've consistently launched hosting solutions simultaneously with Parallels. So we're proud of our relationship and would love to be able to translate that to more customers and help you with this new product. Next slide, please. So to do so, for a limited time, Codero and Parallels are proud to offer you basically a risk-free incentive to try Parallels automation in a production environment. And we are offering a Parallels 200 website license for 6 months, free, absolutely free for 6 months. That's a close to $1,000 value. Further, we are also giving you 75% off your first month with Codero Services. So if you decide to act between now and the end of the week on Friday, this offer is valid till Friday. We would be able to give you 75% off your first month on all your Codero services, plus you get the Parallel automation license, the 200 website package, free for 6 months. Plus included in all our servers is 20 terabytes of bandwidth per month free, which is much more than anyone can use. Not that we want to test you, but we would we would love to see you use that much. That means you're very successful. And then we're also giving an incentive to try our on-demand hybrid cloud, which was launched 2 weeks ago, with a $20 free credit. Plus, you will get free setup on all software on your servers. And on top of that, we're going to give 15% off for life on all servers purchased through Codero. So it's an incredible offer, but we really want to get more people exposed to Parallels automation software, which we think is leading edge and industry leading. Plus, we want you to be exposed to Codero and the partnership that we forged here with Parallels. And with that, I will pass you back to Adam. You can feel free. Actually, last slide, sorry. We're, like I said, we're proud to be your hybrid cloud partner here for growth. You can go live in minutes with us, and you can feel free to come to our website, www.codero.com, chat with one of our experts on chat, or you can email us, and the email would be on the last slide here of the presentation. With that, I'll pass it back to Adam.
Emil, thank you so much. That's an amazing offer. Thank you for providing it to our partners and customers. And I would like to close this webinar and move on to the Q&A portion of it with a section on just key takeaways. And of course, the first one I would like to make sure you guys keep in mind is the partnership that we have with Codero, and I would encourage you to leverage that partnership to get to the right infrastructure solution for the multi-server and multi-software deployment as fast as possible. Now, the second point that I want to make here is related to the new and extended shared hosting services that you can take advantage with Parallels Plesk Automation 11.5. So I truly believe that there is an untouched market of websites and customers who could not move to a VPS-like service because of the complexity and the cost of that solution today. And therefore, I think that we as an industry have an opportunity to double our revenues by simply offering our customers ability to consume private hosting, a new way to consume high-level resources without the burden of the administration that comes with it, and of course with the high revenues as it brings to our industry and you guys. And the third piece that I would like you to leave this leave this webinar with relates to the platform that we are building for you. So we're making sure that you can use it today as a professional shared hosting solution, the most advanced one on the market. We want to make sure that you can extend the solution with new shared hosting type of services. But we are really building a platform for you to take your business to a new level by introducing both infrastructure as a service and software as a service set of services to it. We believe that ability to go from 1 or 2 to 7 or 10 or 15 services is the way how this industry is going to stay relevant and how we can make sure that you will stay relevant and profitable in your business going forward. I would like to finish this with just a contact information. You can, of course, contact us directly, and you can contact me and email me directly. For the sales conversations, the right way to contact us is the most efficient and fastest is to email my colleague, Sanjay Robert, or Robert Sanjay, at srobert@parallels.com. And he has an incredible understanding of the solution in place and our partnership with Codero. So Sanjay is the right person to contact. And of course, I would encourage you to go and talk to Codero about their solution. You can visit their website, call them directly, or email them at sales@codero.com. Now, with that, I would now love to, and Joe and Emil would love to hear your questions and move on to the Q&A portion of the webinar.
Okay, thanks so much, Adam. So we've got a question here from Michael. He asks, do you have an integration module for Blesta billing system? And I think that's directed at you, Adam.
Thank you, Nicole. No, we don't. I would love to get an email from you so we can follow up on this conversation. We are building modules for multiple different billing solutions, and I would like to understand of what the requirement is and how important this billing solution would be for you. And let me also comment on the easiest way to contact me. Please email Adam Bo at parallels.com.
Okay, great. Thanks, Michael, for your question. And be sure to reach out to Adam to ask more about the Blesta integration. So we've got another question here. Adam, this question's also for you. How long does it take to add a new server to the Parallels Plesk automation installation?
Thank you, Nicole. So because of the multi-server architecture, because the way the system looks like when it's deployed, with a management node connected to separate nodes running different services, adding a node is actually just a function of going to the management UI of the Parallels Plesk automation and using the preset tools in that node to point to a node that you want to designate as a dedicated node. Then Parallels Plesk automation will ensure that that node is correctly connected and there is a correct software deployed to that node. So the short answer is it takes minutes and it can be done from a single entry point, single UI.
Okay, great. I've got another question for you, Adam. How many nodes and users can you run on Parallels Plesk automation?
This question is a little bit more, require a little more depth to it. So there is no physical limit on how many nodes you can connect to a single management node. We've tested it with hundreds of nodes, and really the dependency here is on number of consecutive connections or simultaneous connections that users would have with a management node. So the way I think about it is, and what's been tested is, we know that the system performs efficiently with up to 15,000 users. And of course, that is a function not just of a system itself, but of course, it's a function of the resources, particularly memory, on the management node. But you can be confident that 15,000 shared hosting users on the PPA systems performs very well.
Okay, thanks. Joe, we've got a question for you here. Are there any differences in provisioning international hosting services using PPA or Parallels Plesk automation?
Hi. Well, actually, there aren't any differences in terms of your common country codes. However, it is important to note that in some countries, two that just come to my mind, Algeria, for example, they have requirements that the DNS has to reside in that country. Kazakhstan, I'm sorry, has a requirement that you actually have to host with a country based in their country, with a hosting provider or a server in their country. So that would, with only a few minor exceptions like that, it's actually very much the same. There really is no difference.
Okay, thanks. I have another question for you here. Will there be any differences in how new TLDs are hosted or provisioned?
No. In fact, all the new TLDs, well, it may depend. There are going to be some new TLDs that will have unique business models, and we don't know if they're going to have any requirements related to hosting. But for the most part, they are going to be working just the same way that all other domain names do. So when it comes to hosting, you should be able to provision hosting in exactly the same way.
Okay, thanks. Those are all the questions we have today, but I'd really like to thank everyone for coming out, asking questions, and I'd especially like to thank Parallels, Codero, and 101domain.com for the presentation today. It was really engaging, and it's exciting to see what's possible with Parallels Plesk automation and what we can expect from Parallels later this year in a couple of weeks and next year as well. So I'd like to wish everyone a good afternoon. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to any of the presenters, or you can email me as well. It's Nicole, Nicole, @theword.com. I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks. Have a great day.
Thanks, Nicole.